Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here again. Okay, so I have been asked this question probably, I don't know, 100 billion zillion times it seems. Okay, so on the left we have the E3600lfp, and on the right we have the F3000lfp, which is Pecron's newest system. So we've been asked this question a ton of times already, and I thought, well, I'll put it to rest and help a bunch of people at one time. So, which one should I order? Well, that depends on what you need. So what I did is I went through all of these scenarios in my mind, and I wrote them down here to see kind of what I think is better for my instance and the actual cold hard facts of the systems. A lot of people buy something and they don't really understand what they're buying. You know, they kind of, do I need this or do I need that? Sometimes you don't need that much power. So, extra power loss, because the inverter is huge and you don't need it. So what I like to do is I like to buy an inverter that's too big, because then you're only using it at like 50 or 60% rated power. And then it's like a car. If you use it, with the gas pedal all the way to the ground, that's obviously really hard on the car, right? So if you could use that, car at 50% gas, that would obviously, the engine would last a lot longer. Electronics are similar to a car in that they heat up and they take wear and tear. Kind of similar to a car, except that there's really no moving parts other than like fans and stuff like that. But, okay, so I'm going to go through step by step of what I think. For spoilers, guys, I'm going to give you the answer just in case you don't want to watch the whole video. I personally would recommend the E3600lfp over the F3000, hands down. And this video is going to explain why. And I have very, very good amount of positives on the E3600 side. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it here. The E3600 full battery capacity, if you max out both systems now, okay, is 15,360 watt hours. That is a monster system for a portable system that you could pick up and move around your house. The F3000LFP is 9,216. So that way, if you want to get a piece of paper and write these down, we can kind of follow along together. And like I said, you might not need that much watt hours, right? So that 9,000 would be obviously, it would suffice for you for your situation or whatever. Okay, so battery, hands down, we're going to give one, and I'm going to keep track of this now. So E3600lfp, okay, that's 1 point for that one, and F3000lfp. Now, like I said, there's no really right or wrong answer. It's, what is good for you. Okay, so that's 1 point for me for the E3600lfp. Now, solar input. Now, if you're using the standard input of the machine itself, just the top part, the E3600 is 2,400 watts. The F3000 comes in at 1,600 watts. That's 800 watt difference, right? So that's a big difference. I believe that they both have. Well, I know that the 3600 has an extra port that can go up to 150. So, but I mean, technically, we're not even going to count that, because I don't like to use that one. I like to save that as a backup port. But if you max that out, now you have 2,400 watts on this system plus the 150. So that's 2,550 watts that you could bring in through the main, and it works. I've tried it, and this one, I'm guessing it's 150. It doesn't really say. Let's guesstimate that it's 150. That means you'd be able to bring in about 1,750 watts through the main itself, and that's it. So that's one more point for the E3600lfp in my decision. Okay, so you have for solar inputs, okay, the E3600lfp has dual XT60s. I like that a lot, because just as anything in electronics, you want to have what's known as a backup plan. That's like anything in life, right? So you have two inputs, 1,200 watts per input. So if you do end up burning one out, you have a backup. This system, I believe, only has, let me see, I think it's only one. Yep, see, there's only one input right there. I believe that this right here is the AC input, and that's the solar input. I wish I could see better. Yeah, that looks like it's the input port. So XT60 input, and then that is your AC charging. So you only have one input. So if you do have a problem and you burn out one of your MPPT controllers, guess what? You don't have a backup plan, right? So I'm going to give one more point, and you can score however you want. One more point to the E3600lfp. And I'm not biased in any way. I own the E3600lfp. I don't know if I'm going to get it F3000. I'll be more than happy to, if they want to send me one, I'll be more than happy to take a look at it, 100%. But I don't know if I need it because I have already bigger than I need. So definitely not biased. I mean, I'm looking at them, trying to look at them as a brand new customer, thinking of what I need or what I want for the future. Okay, so the next one is going to, I didn't do this one. Yeah, one XTC on this one and two XTC 60s on this one. So yeah, we did do that. Okay, so solar time. If you were to use the solar charging of just the main unit itself, it would take about 6.4 hours to charge this entire system at 15,360 watt hours, and that's respectively, you know, because you have your conversion loss and everything. So we're looking at just numbers, right? And then on the F3000LFP, it would take you about 5.76 hours respectively to charge the full system of 9,216 watt hour system through this port. Now one nice thing is this can take a higher amount, 1,600 watts in, right? But this one can take 1,200 times 2, and I like the idea of having a backup plan. It's just me. You might like a higher input on one port, but like I said, higher input might cause more heat, and then if it fails, you have no backup plan. So I look at it that. So now, if you use the full solar charging of the entire system, now this is where a lot of people get confused. Most people forgot or just don't know. After the E2000LFP debacle with the charging thing of the power meter, a lot of people on this channel know what I'm talking about. If you charge through the batteries, the system doesn't know you're charging through the batteries, and on the E2000LFP, that screwed up the power meter until you completely filled the system, and the system had a chance to reset. So ever since the E1500LFP, Pecron has fixed that to where if energy comes in through the batteries, the system still on the power meter does not recognize that the power is coming in, so it's not going to show you it, but it's going in through the batteries. However, the power percentage meter will go up right away, and that's what didn't happen on the E2000LFP. I think I was the first channel to figure that out. Props to me, I guess. I don't know, but that was a frustrating thing because you know, you want your system to always know what it has, and it would be weird. It would stop at like, you know, whatever, 73% and 74, and then but the system is full, right? It's the batteries are good, but the power meter was off, so it was a headache. And now that I know a way around that, it's not a headache anymore, but it's still frustrating, especially if you're new to solar. That would, you know, be confusing. Okay, so if you were to charge through all these ports up here, right? And remember, the 4 batteries, that's 400 watts each battery at 12 volts to 95 volts per run. Now remember, you have to do a lot of runs. That's 7 runs here, you know, to do this full system. You can charge 4,150 watt hours. That is incredible. Oh, actually, wait, I gotta go back. I gotta give the solar time to 1 point to the F3000 because it was faster. However, this is a bigger battery pack, so it's really kind of not a fair test, but I'm still going to give a point to the F3000LP for that because it is a shorter time for that system, even though it's, you know, like maybe 60% of the system about. Okay, so 4,050 watt hours would take 3.7 hours to charge the entire system. Obviously, that's respectfully because you know, the conversion loss and everything. But on paper, it would be about 3.7 hours. Okay, and if you were to do all the ports up here, which is just the one now we found out, that's 1,600 watts only. And then that would be about 3.84 hours to charge the entire system, and that would have 3 runs. That would be a 1,600 watt run, a 400, and a 400, because remember, it can only take 2 batteries. The nice thing is they both take the same batteries. The bad thing is the new one has a new cable, but you can use either battery, the EP3000 battery on either system. So at least Pecron stayed with that. That's a huge plus. So I'm going to give the full solar time 1 point to the E3600LFP because it's a faster, even though it's bigger, it has a monster input for solar. 4,150. I've only been able to get approximately just under 4,000, and it's not Pecron's fault. I don't have enough solar panels, so I have to buy more solar panels. That is a monster amount of power to come in a little box that you could pick up and carry and throw in the trunk of your car. So I definitely 1 more point. So the E3600LFP is at 4, and the F3000 is at 1 point. And like I said, you could judge however you want. This is just, like I said, I'm looking at it from my perspective. Okay, the screen. The screen is, it is absolutely awesome. Absolutely. The E3600 LFP has a touch screen on it that is so phenomenal. I don't even use the app anymore at all. I have trouble with the apps. I just stopped using it. I use the touch screen. I'm done. I love it. I don't have to turn on a phone. It's always on the screen. Every bit of information that I need is right there. That, hands down, would turn me off from the other system just so I don't have to use that darn app. I don't like apps anymore unless it's straight Bluetooth and very, very simple, and it works all the time. So I think Pecron needs more updates on the app. This does not have a touchscreen according to the specs here. I didn't see it listed, and the screen is different. The touchscreen has a lot different as far as the views. Let me see if I can go back here. As you can see, the screens are completely different. You know what? I'm gonna bring both of these up here. Let me get a fair picture of both here. That's a good one, and I should have. Okay, there you go. I should have did this in the beginning. Okay, so notice that the touch screen is way different than the standard Pecron screen. This has a standard E1500 kind of look to it, E2000 kind of look to it. So totally different. So the screen, definitely giving it a point because I don't have to use the phone. That alone, hands down, is probably my favorite option on this power station by far. Okay, so AC charging. Now this is a big one. Even though I don't use AC charging at all, I bought this big bad boy because I want to use solar. I don't want to pay the electric company no more. Not for my situation. This is a workshop. It's 100% off grid, and I don't want to give anybody any money no more to run this workshop. So I don't have an electric bill here anymore. It's 100% solar. Very, very, very rarely have I ever had to go to the grid and then I can charge this if I had to. And that has been where, you know, you'd have a week or two of just terrible, terrible weather. That's very rare, guys. It's very rare. But it can happen. It can happen. I think I've done that maybe, I want to say maybe once or twice. But if you get enough solar panels, you can bring in that power, and if you're light on the power usage, you don't have to do that so much. So this system can charge at 1,800 watts from the wall. Adjustable speed, of course, and this one can charge 1,800 watts. So they can both bring in 1,800 watts. Now, where the power is, the E3600LFP has a special cable, okay? And if you plug it in, it recognizes this cable, and you can bring in 3,200 watts. That is crazy amount of power. I mean, you have to bring in 30 amps to get that kind of power. So that is a monster amount of power to bring in. Okay, let me circle these here. I'm going to give 1 point to the E3600 because even though I don't use it, the AC charging is a heck of a nice feature on that 30 amp cable. Matter of fact, I'll be honest, I don't even have a port to try that, but I've seen other people on their reviews actually try that, and they're getting like, 3,100 and so. It's crazy that amount of power. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to give it to that. The screen gets that, this one gets that, and that one gets that. Okay, so it is 6-1 for the E3600LFP. The handles, now this is subjective to, whether you like it or not. I personally do not like the handles that stick out. It's one of the biggest things that I didn't like about EcoFlow is they have those handles that stick out. I like very square stuff. I'm a production guy, so if I put this away, it fits very square. Storing, traveling, very, very square. It's easier to stack, and you don't have the things that stick out that could poke into something else. You know what I mean? So if like, let me give you a prime example. If I have a big subwoofer, an 18-inch subwoofer with a grill on it, and I put this system right in front of it by mistake, this handle could poke right through the grill. Possibly, right? Possibly. This one would not. So that's what I mean about the streamlined shape. I love the recessed built-in handles. You can't even see them on the system. They're literally inside these, right behind these here, let me show you guys. Hold on. Let me go back here. See? You see how they're recessed in there? Awesome. Awesome. I like it. Now I said you might like this one. That's okay. That's okay. This one is totally subjective of what you like. You know what I mean? I'm going to give it a point for me because that's what I like. So remember, our point system might be different. You might be giving points the other way. Okay, so I'm going to give that to the handles. Okay, the outputs. Now, it says that there's 16 outputs on this one and there's 13 on this one. So right away you have to give 1 point for the E3600 because that's a huge difference. 3 extra outputs, but there's actually 5. There's 5 outputs that are different, and they didn't list them. So you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I guess I was correct. I guess I was wrong. Okay, so the 16 with the 2 wireless charging. That's a big difference. I don't use wireless charging. You might. You might really like that. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 3 ports that are different. However, I still count, there is one more AC 120 though. I do like that. I do like that. But it doesn't have the 2 wireless charging up there. Notice that. And some people really like that wireless charging up there. But notice here, you don't have 2, you're missing 2 USB A's right there. Okay? And you're missing also, and this is huge for some people, you see this port right here underneath this little circle? That is a 12 volt 30 amp output. That is a monster port to run like a diesel heater or something. Or if you just want to transfer power from one to another, whatever you want to do with it, you know, run like a small air compressor or something like that. A lot of times you can put that right in this little cigarette port, but I don't like those. This would be great to have that. Much more secure, stable, much more amps, so you can really get your car tire, you know, up to where you need to be right away. This one doesn't have that. Notice that? It's missing that. So I want to give 1 more point, which I think I did already. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I got 8 for the E3600lfp and 1 for the E3000. But they do have 1 extra AC 120 port, and I'm going to give them a point for that because I think that's really useful. I noticed with this one, I seem to be running out of ports all the time. 1 extra one is a huge difference if you need 1 extra port. I think that's very important. So I'm going to give the F3000 1 extra point because it has an extra one. Even though it has less ports, I'm going to give it 1 point because of this. I think that's a big thing. And if you start plugging in a lot of stuff, you'll see what I mean. Let's see here. I got to go to the next one here. Let me write something down here. Outputs and then the app. Okay, so the app, guys, I don't like Pecron's app. My personal opinion, I don't like it. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. I like the touch screen. So if I had a choice, I would rather take the touch screen. So I'm going to give, once again, another point because you don't have to use the app with the E3600lfp. So I think that's fair. You may disagree, and that's fine, but I think that's fair to to give it a point for that because I don't have. I'm not restricted to using the app if I want to change like the speed. You remember all like the hidden menus and stuff? Forget all that stuff. It's all on the touchscreen. It's literally like a remote control for a TV. You go where you need, how you need, and change the options right in front of your face. It's great. It's great. It's arguably my favorite feature on the E3600lfp. Okay, the on and off button. Okay, so the on and off button is this button over here. Now here's a weird thing. I don't need an on and off button. It's nice to have, but I don't need it. But I'm going to give the the letters and numbers, the F3000LFP 1 point because it actually has an on button where you can turn on the system without turning on any of the AC or DC inverters. I think that's useful. I don't really know when and where it would be useful, but it is nice. Maybe to check the balance without actually having to turn on an inverter. It is an extra step, but when I check the balance, I just turn on the DC one. You know, it's a lot easier to turn on than the AC. The AC, you know, eats up so much power. I just turn on the DC and I watch the power. Both of them, when you do solar, you know, the screen, whether they're off or not, they turn on by themselves and show you what they're charging anyway. But I'm still going to give a point to the F3000 because I do like the idea of it's there. Guys, if you know a great other option of a reason why you would have a power button like that, please let me know. Like, say if you just want to check the balance, check the, you know what I mean, just small stuff like that. But other than that, I can't really see that being that useful. Maybe I'm mistaken. So I'm going to give F3000. So it is now E3600lfp has let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points, and the F3000lfp has 3 points. Okay, we're going to go down here on and off. Surge power. So the surge power, the inverters in both of them are 3600 watts respectively. This new one, however, actually has part of the ad. If I can come back here, it says right here, it says surge 4500 watts in 5 seconds. Now, if that's true, this cannot hold 4500 watts for 5 seconds. I have it. I've tried it. Maybe if some people have a different version, there's no way I can get 4500 watts out of this thing. I could get close to 4000, but I don't know. This is probably a new inverter, a little bit more kind of pimped up kind of version, but that's a plus, and I'm going to give that for surge power 1 point to the F3000LFP for that, because I think that's very powerful if you need surge power, a little bit stronger drills or tools, or whatever you're using there, anything with a generator, motor, compressor, things like that. However, since this system can be put together in 2 systems together to make 240 volts, this system has 7200 surge, right? That's huge. So plus a 7200 watts of inverter on there when you put them together in 240. So I have to give E3600 a point for that, because that surge power is a lot. I don't think I have anything that can even test that, because I don't have anything that big. You could run like 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 heaters. You know what I mean? 1000-watt heaters, and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 vacuum cleaners. But I mean, that's a ton of power, depending on the amps, of course. That's a ton of power. Wattage it should be able to hold, but the amperage is different than wattage, of course. But wow, that's a lot of power. Okay, the next one is wireless charging. Wireless charging, obviously, we went through already. It's getting cold, so I apologize. I'm having a little trouble with my throat today. Out there breathing in the cold weather. So this has wireless charging. There's 2 of them on the top, if you recall. And this one, as you can see, no wireless charging. So for me, the wife loves wireless charging. She's got her earbuddy things, and then she's got her phone, and it's so quick and easy for her. Even though wireless is not as efficient as a straight cable, of course, because you're sending electricity through the air. Rest in peace, Nikola Tesla. Which that was his whole grand scheme idea, is to send electricity free to the entire world. So it is not as efficient as a cable. So even though I don't like it, the wife loves it. I have to give 1 more point because it doesn't have that option. Okay, so let's see why. 240 volts. Obviously, the E3600lfp can, when you buy 2 of them, you can link them together and have the 240. So 1 more point has to go to the E3600 because you can have 240 volts. And on the F3000, there's no option for 240 volts. So, which I don't need, like I said, but there's a lot of people out there that really could use that. Now, this is a big one. This is subjective too. I think it's important, though. I really, really do. Notice the difference of what you see of these two systems. Look at the AC ports, and what do you think is missing on the AC ports? That's right, the covers. Guys, I love the covers. I do not like a system that doesn't have covers. Dust, dirt, debris, spills, soda pop. Children run around and they poke things in areas like this, right? And you know, obviously you don't want kids around your electronics, but kids are nosy, right? They're curious as a cat. So if a child walks up and pokes something in here, it's the same as the outlet in your wall. It could be potentially dangerous. You can go purchase those little plastic covers. You know, you buy them at Walmart or, you know, something like that, and you pop them in here to cover those. But these already come with the covers on there. I like that. If it's covered, then the kid has to, you know, like work harder to get into that port. So I think that definitely should go to the E3600lfp as far as the ports. Color scheme. That's subjective, of course. I like both of them, actually. I really like this one. I like the green lit up buttons. Oh, I forgot that. You know what? Let me add that, guys. As far as the buttons, I think it's only fair. The the F3000lfp should get a point because these buttons actually light up, where these actually come with a sticker, a glow-in-the-dark sticker that goes around the buttons. So definitely a point for the lit up buttons. And why is that good? You can see across the room which inverter is on by just looking at it. The top one's on, you know it's a DC, and they actually say DC and AC and the power button. So if you leave something on by mistake, you can see it. On this one, you have to look very close, and you'll see that the DC and AC, you have to see those. You know what I mean? So you can't see that across the room so much. I'm going to turn around real quick and see. Yeah, you kind of can, but obviously a big glowing green button is much, much better, especially in the dark. So the 1 point for the F3000. Okay, so we are up to 13 points for the E3600lfp and 6 points for the F3000lfp. Let's see. Now I'm going to go through and see. Now that's my list of the stuff that I found that was different. If you guys know anything that's different, please leave a comment in the comment section and tell me if I missed something. It's very possible. I just wanted to make this video because I want to try to help people figure out which one's best for them. I don't care which one you buy. I don't. I really don't. I want to help you with it if I can, but it's your decision. You know, you're going to pick the system that's right for you. If I told you to pick this one because of whatever, well, that's my decision. So you have to pick something that you enjoy and what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. That's the beautiful thing about choices that we have with these companies, is they have a ton of different versions. Like here, if you look here, you know, let me see here. Let me. I can't do that. Okay, so if you go like this, oh boy, I'm out. See this? So you have all these options. Maybe you don't need such a big one. Maybe you need a tinier power station. Maybe you need a monster one like the F5000 that's coming. So the nice thing is this will fall in line for whoever needs whatever they're using. That's the cool thing about these power stations. It's not just one and done, and you know that's the only one you have a chance to pick, and you know, oh well. So that everybody's got different ideas or situations, or maybe it's something as simple as the size. You know, maybe this is too big of a system and this is smaller and it fits in your wherever, your RV or whatever. You know, it could be something so simple. Maybe you have a bunch of solar panels and you know, you like how it goes this way because it's higher wattage rather than 2 runs. You know, it could be like that. So maybe you have like one big array and you want to run into like that. You can, oh, you know what, I take that back. There's a special cable which I forgot about. I don't use it. There is a solar cable that is a parallel cable that can put both of these into one monster that can take up to 2400 watts at 40 amps. Yes, I said that correctly. 40 amps. That is hot, guys. Once you go past 20, that heat starts coming. 40 amp input and 2400 watts. That is a ton, and that's up to 150 volts. Obviously, when you run that kind of amperage, you want to push your voltage up as high as you can. Get that 150, 145, so that way you're not pulling that many amps, because that is a ton of heat. So I have to give one more point to the E3600 because they have that extra cable. I'll show you what it looks like here. Let's see, where's the accessories here? Holy pictures. Pecron did a good job with the pictures. Oh, you know, wow, that's all pictures, guys. Look, isn't that crazy? Holy crap! So where's the cables here? Hold on here. Let me find it here. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Right here. Okay. Boy, they got a ton of pictures. Good job, Pecron. Holy crap! They got like 30 or 40 pictures. Okay, so in here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, geez. There I go. Okay, here, and then how do you get it bigger again? Okay, you can't. So in here you have. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Boy, it's hard to see, guys, but in this system you have a special input that can run two XT60s. I'm sorry, yeah, it's one MC4 and then into two XT. I think that's it right there, because that looks like the single. This is a double, so that goes from one run into both of these ports. And then here's that fancy cable, guys. This is the normal one we get 1800 watts up to, and this is that super pimped up one. That is a monster cable, guys. That's like an RV cable. That is a super 30 amps that can bring in a lot of energy, guys. So very, very good on that cable. I have not used it because I have 4 arrays, so I can't put them all together because they're in different angles. And obviously, if you put them all together, that kind of hurts because they're different, you know, different angles and everything. So they'd have to fight each other. But other than I think that is everything that I see. That I let me see if the UPS is any better here. Let's see here, 3600 watts. Yep. Lithium iron phosphate batteries in both, of course. See, 1800 watts to 3200 watts. And that one is only 1800 watts. Here you have UPS, that's 20 millisecond fast switching. Professional, I believe, is 10 milliseconds or less. And instant is like 0 milliseconds, which is really hard. It's like instant. Let me see here. As you can see, that they both have that 20 and 20. So there's really, you know, no upgrade there. The inverter and the technology. You know what? I'm going to give one more point to the F3000 because it is a newer system, and with a newer system you have newer technology, newer programming, newer connections, and newer ways to do things. So I'm going to give it, even though I don't know, I'm going to give it a point because I think that's fair. It's a newer system, so there has to be definitely newer stuff. Pecron does like to regurgitate a lot of parts in their newer systems though, but I have a feeling that this one has a newer inverter. Let's see here. Warranty is the same, 2 and 3. Let's see here. Yeah, everything else is. See, here's the 7200 watts at 240, but you have to buy that special junction, and then you have to put your communication cable together so they can talk, so it can, you know, keep up to that. Let's see. I don't see any other things. Car charging, I think it's the same in both systems. Let's see, for AC 30 amp output. Both of them have the actual true NEMA TT port right here that actually can put out 30 amps. So that's a plus. On the E3600lfp, that is not a true 30 amp output, even though it says it is. It's kind of a, what's a nice way to put it? Fantasy. Okay. And the reason is the port itself can actually withhold 30 amps. It can withstand 30 amps. The problem is you only have a 2200 watt inverter on the E3600lfp, so you can't get 30 amps out, if that makes sense to you. So the port is rated at 30 amps, but it can't physically do 30 amps because the power behind it, the inverter, is not big enough. All right, so that was a big thing with a lot of people. They wanted that 30 amp out, and of course you can't have that because the inverter's not big enough to withstand 30 amps, because you need 3600 watts, you know, to get 30 amps. Let's see here. It does say it's smaller and lighter, but notice that they're comparing it to the, this is definitely an EcoFlow system back here. And I don't know if that's Delta, Delta Pro, Delta 2. I have no idea. I don't know that much about EcoFlow other than it's a great company and great systems. I hear nothing but positive everywhere I go with the systems, especially the EcoFlow Ultra. Holy crap, Zilla, is that a monster? Let's see here. But monster price too. That's the big difference here. Now this says switch over power supply at 8 to 20 milliseconds. So it does have a little professional switch over time, but it does say 20 milliseconds up on top. So I don't know which one it is, because like I said, I don't have that system. All right, let's see here. Happy campers here out making coffee in the middle of nowhere. That seems to be the main thing. Everybody's making coffee with these things. Just think you have a 15,000 watt hour system, the E3600lfp, and then you're making coffee with it. You can make a crap load of coffee with that. That is a ton of power. Let's see here. What it would power. They're both the same unless you run 240. If the inverter is newer and better, that surge is definitely a big thing for people that have bigger equipment. Now here is the almighty specs here. When you play baseball, you look at the stats, right? So here you got 79 pounds for the main system of the E3600lfp, and the weight is only 63.3 pounds. So I have to give another point to the F3000lfp because it's lighter. If you can't hold, boy, I lost my place here. If you can't hold 80 pounds, that 63 pounds is a big difference, right? That really is to your back. I mean, that's, what was that, 16 pounds lighter? That's a lot. When you're trying to lift 80 pounds and you're 80 years old or 70, believe me, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. I don't see anything else here. Bluetooth control. I don't like their app because it doesn't use Bluetooth. We went over that. Same rating on all the batteries and everything. Neither one of these have built-in heaters. Charging rate, you can obviously change the charging rate on both. And I think that's the end of it. So overall, guys, we're going to look at what I came up with here, and hopefully you guys wrote down all the things that I like better. Like I said, this is 100% opinion. You know, you may think the opposite way, and that's fine. Totally fine. I just want to make a video trying to give a little bit of pointers, if you will, of what I thought was a much better deal. If I had to do it again, I personally, this is my own personal opinion, I would 100% take the E3600lfp and pay that extra, what is it? I would pay the extra $400, and I'll tell you the main reasons why. Number one, 15,000 watt hours. I love that. The bigger the watt hours, the better. I don't want to be recharging all the times. The bigger the watt hours means less cycles on your system, right? Because you have more watt hours. That's a huge plus. The charging, 2 inputs, not 1. Love it. I love mine. Let's see, the recharge time, 4,150 watts, and that is legit. 4,000 plus watt hours you can charge the system. I think I reached about 3,800 or 3,850, something like that. Because like I said, I got to buy more panels. Can you believe that? I thought I was done buying panels, and then I get this monster, and now I have to go buy more panels. So monster solar charger, and that's the ball game. I don't want to pay a bill. I want solar. I don't want AC charging. I want solar. AC charging, even though I don't use it, 30 amps with that special cord. That is a monster upgrade from this system to that system. So, I mean, what do we have? Like 4 or 5 major things that I would choose. Touchscreen, hands 100%. I would give 10 points for that. 100%. I love the touchscreen. You guys have seen me ramble about the touchscreen on every video I've ever had at the E3600lfp. The handles, personal, I like them recessed. I don't like them sticking out. That's just me, though. So, you know, that one only counts for me. Let's see here. Screen, touchscreen, handles, outputs. The extra outputs, even though I don't use them, you have the wireless charging for the wife. Once again, it's just an option that's nice to have. The 12 volt 30 amp output that's right here, that is a huge thing if I ever want to run a diesel heater, which I don't have yet, and I'm dying to get one. I'm just dying to get one. I don't know which one to buy. I'm always scared of buying new tech. Maybe I'll just, you know, bite the bullet and go get one. But I always hear these horror stories. I hear great stories, so I'm still in a toss-up. But I think that's about it. The 240 volts, if I ever decided to use and utilize 240 volts, which right now, at this point in my life, I don't need it, don't want it, but it is nice to have that option if I ever bought a second E3600LFP. I don't know which way I want to go. Do I need the F5000 coming out, or do I want another E3600LFP? My big thing was I wanted to get this system maxed out, which I did. Cost a lot of money. Love it. But I'd like to get a server rack that has probably, I don't know, maybe 50 or 100,000 watt hours in it, and put that in the basement or down in this building. And that way you can run charging cables and bring in 1,200 watts from downstairs to this system through the XT60 fused wire, of course. And that way you can run UPS mode-ish through the charging from the basement of DC. Actually, you wouldn't have a UPS in that. I just made a constant stream of power up to 1,200 watts, and then if you use more than that, which I usually don't, the system would just eat from the basement, which is a big stack, and then keep the inverter going. But now here's the thing. I can take that E3600LFP, throw it in the RV, throw it in the van, throw it in the car, throw it in the trunk, put it in a huge wagon and drag it with an electric bike and take it anywhere I want, where you can't do that with a server rack. But that way, when you get back to the building, you hook that up, and then you power dump, constantly from that big rack system in the basement, and have this system take care of everything all in one. I like all-in-one systems, but I don't like them because there's no DC, and even though I don't use much DC, there's no wireless charging, there's no USBs. So my wife likes that, and I like the USB-C. And then for the, like I said, diesel heater, you don't have that. Portability, you don't have that. But I think that's about it, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to add them up here. I came up with, as you heard, a large number of reasons that I like the system. They both have right angle cables too, by the way. They're awesome. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 14 points for the E3600LFP, in my opinion. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points for the F3000LFP. Now, that's not to knock the system, guys. Like I said, this is just a video to help people try to make sense of what they need or what they want. Hopefully, I went through enough points, bullet points, if you will, that you can write them down and say, Bob says I can get 1,200 watts and 1,200 watts of solar, 4,100. So maybe I need that. Maybe I don't need that. So that way you can circle what the options that I said, and then you can make a better informed decision that way for what works for you best in your circumstance or situation or size, or wherever you're going to put it. But I guess that's it, guys. This is the E3600LFP versus the F3000LFP head-to-head. Guys, I would take this one. You make a decision for yourself. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you very much. Please like the video. It helps other people find it, and they can gather more information and make an educated decision on what's right for them. Like I have always said, I don't care what you buy as long as you enjoy what you bought. All right, guys, ramble on, be safe, and I'll see you next time here at Ramblin Bob Reviews. Bye, guys.